in this moment, in this place, I remember
First time here? Got some prizes for you. Come on, like those.
I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is love that sets us all free. There is only love. Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, St. Augustine, Florida. Oh yeah, oh, much better, thank you. No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come love and be loved. From the blissed out to the turned out. From the pampered to the abused. This door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you. If there's some kind of trouble or pain you're going through, and know that you are not alone. And someone cares for you as an individualization of divine point of view. This door, oh, this door right here is open for you. Oh, this door, I'm talking about this door. I said this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. God in us recognizes the God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you.
That's what I said. I said, oh my God, I have this feeling.
This door is open.
I manifested
to you.
No, there you go.
And to everybody. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I miss you guys. So good to see you.
Love your hat.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you and I love you too. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. Oh, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. From every walk of life, every creed and color, in kinship we unite, in honor of the God in each other. Ooh, take a look at the person next to you. Say, namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. Oh, we come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. Good morning and happy Easter. Happy Resurrection Day. All right, it's getting kind of warm up here now, so let me come out here. Yeah.
Well, I've got my own tool. So I've been going there. In the summer, we went in. I know. I think. All right, that'll have to do with the. Oh, you'll have to see. I will. The colors. I know, right? Really like Easter eggs. Yes, so
All right, now I'm going to do a song by the great Ricky Byers. And I want to invite you to sing along if you know the words to the song. The song is called I Release. And it goes like this. There was a time in my life when I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the love of God was sufficient. I didn't know the grace of God was at hand. Now I can say that if you're discouraged, just trying to make it through one more day. You gotta let it go. You gotta let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I'm going to do a song now. And this is a song about you. Every time that we gather together, we are standing on holy ground. We're standing in the presence of the divine. We are connected heart to heart, spirit to spirit. Together we are joined in the promise of unity and the vision of our greater yet to be. As we come together in grace, we align with the truth of who we are and realize we are standing in the presence, standing in the presence. We are standing in the presence of the divine. We are standing in the presence of the divine. Anytime we're together, we're standing in the presence of the divine. We are connected heart to heart, spirit to spirit. Together we are joined in the promise of unity and the vision of our greater yet to be. As we come together in grace, we align with the truth of who we are and realize we are standing in the presence, standing in the presence. We are standing in the presence of the divine. We are standing in the presence of the divine. We are standing in the presence of the divine. We are standing in the presence of the divine. Of the
Eddie Watkins Jr., everyone. We are standing in the presence of the divine. There goes. Hey, here we go. We're standing in the presence of the divine. We're not kneeling. We're not, we're not in supplication. We're standing up in our full spiritual maturity. And we're not begging. We're not begging, pleading. We're announcing our good. We're stating our good. We are announcing that we are children of the Most High, that we've come to this physical plane to experience love. goodness, joy, health, and prosperity. That we're here to allow the love and power and joy of God to flow through us, creating a new heaven and a new earth exactly where we stand. That's what we're doing here today. You know, each Sunday I always ask you to do one simple thing, one easy thing. And that is to leave all your troubles, your would'ves, your could'ves, your should'ves, to leave all that stuff outside. And for the next 45 minutes or so, to open up an avenue of God's possibilities in your life. And what are God's possibilities? Well, they're for more love, more joy, more health, more prosperity, all those things that make us feel alive, because that's what God is doing through you and through me, showing itself, recognizing itself through our love, our joy, and laughter. So know you're in a great place this morning. You're in a powerful place. You're in a sacred place. And Spirit is going to recognize and reward you abundantly. Well, if you're here for the first time, my name is Reverend Ken, and know you are very welcome. You're in a wonderful place. This is a place of power. This is a place where miracles show up, and you're going to leave this place in some significant way, healed, blessed, and prospered. So thank you very much for showing up this morning. It's going to be a great service. Well, just a couple of announcements before we get started. You know, as we're moving to go back inside, we're planning that June 6th, I think, is the first Sunday that we'll be back inside. And as an organization, we're getting revved up. We're getting ready to move out. We're getting ready to get back out in the world and do what we have been doing. And one of those really amazing projects is the Venus Manley Scholarship Program. And I'm going to have Ted Manley come up and give you a little bit of information on that and some of the opportunities available that you can participate in. Come on up, Ted.
Thank you very much, Reverend Ken. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. This is the fourth year that we are sponsoring the Venus Manley Scholarship. Venus was my daughter, my wife, Dr. Tangela Manley. She transitioned 7 years ago. This coming Wednesday will be 7 years. She transitioned at the age of 14. Wonderful child, wonderful spirit. Was raised very much in this church. We are now honoring her by awarding 3 $1,000 scholarships to children with special needs, special courage, we say. They're high school seniors who are planning to move on with their educational careers, and we have the pleasure of giving them 3 scholarships. Although everybody else who applies for it will also get an honorarium. We are coming down to the final stages of the 2021 campaign. This month, we are wrapping up the applications for candidates. We'll have a process where each applicant will submit an essay and also be in front of a panelist of us who will actually assess their candidacy for it. And we will be awarding these scholarships next month in May. So if you want to contribute to the fund, we have spaces for those of you who might want to participate on the panel as a judge for the essays or for their interviews themselves. You can contact me. I'll hang around after church. I normally do for another half hour or so. But you can also contribute financially to the scholarship fund, both for this year and for years to come. By going on to the CSL website, there is a click-on opportunity for you to contribute there, and we very, very much appreciate the support that CSL St. Augustine has given Venus, myself, my family for these past several years or so. So thank you very much for your love and support, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, Ted. If you're feeling just a little bit discouraged, if you're feeling a little bit down, if you're feeling like you just really don't know how you're going to get the energy to get moving ahead, come and get on one of these boards that listens to these young people. Ted called them kids with special courage, because these are kids that have gone to school every single day knowing they're going to get picked on, knowing that they're the bottom of the barrel. You know, one of the mothers, she hugged me after her son came through, and she told me, she said, my son never gets special attention. He doesn't get the awards. She says, y'all are the first people giving him some extra encouragement. When you come and you listen to these kids, you're going to know that you have the power within you to step up and handle anything that's coming your way. So it's a wonderful program, and I urge you to support it and get involved in it. All right, to share with us what we're doing with our building, David Hoke's going to come up. Come on up, David.
Thank you, Ken. Good morning, everybody. I, for years, have described my experience of Sunday mornings and coming to the center as being kind of my immersion in a pool of positivity. And I come here and I get that invigoration and I get that energizing out of the people here, the spirit here, that sort of stuff. And I'll have to tell you, I feel that momentum building and that energy coming back in this crowd in ways it hadn't in the last 12 months. You know, it's we're on a great track. As Ken said, we're looking to move inside in June. There are going to be some changes when we get in there. We're making a few changes in the main room, where things are positioned, that sort of stuff. I think people will see that. My vision for this, what I'm looking to help manifest, is that when we walk in the door here in June, we're going, yes, it's bright, energetic. You know, what we're looking for, it's got a new feel to it, and those are the things we're creating. Most of you know I served as president of the board for a while. Mike Lawley's now taken on that role, and one of the things I told Mike I would help do, since we had this pandemic stuff facing us, was I would hang on to the responsibility for facilities in the building. The facilities committee over the life of this thing has done several things. You know, we made up the rules and the signs and stuff like that early on, and then we went a long stretch, didn't meet while we were meeting here and things like that. Well, that facilities committee is meeting every Friday morning at 10 o'clock here at the center until we get open again. And we're taking the steps week in, week out that need to be taken so that when we get to that opening day, we've got that right feeling, we're that sense of moving back inside, and that we've taken the steps, done the things that need to be done for us to be safe and secure in our facility when we get moved back in. So I'm really pumped about it. We had like I said, this past Friday morning, we had a great meeting talking about a lot of the things that we need to do. You know, there's so many things on the list. Everybody's got their image of what Sunday morning at the center was. The meditation before the service, that was always a big thing. Reiki at the meditation, and meditation was an important thing. Our greeters and that sort of stuff. All that stuff has got to get put into place, and we're in the process of working on that stuff right now. So I want you to know we're out there. If you want to join us, it's Friday morning at 10 here would be the facilities committee meeting. Got to wear a mask, but we meet inside, and we'd love to have you. So that energy is out there flowing. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, David. We had talked about COVID when we were inside, that we were worried about we might need a larger auditorium to fit everybody in. If we don't get inside pretty soon, we may need a larger parking lot to fit everybody in. So it's a good problem to have. Talking about a good problem to have, Jim Saul, come on up and do an opening treatment for us.
Good morning. It's getting busier and busier. You can feel the energy. One of the things that I think I missed most from a year ago is the morning meditation. When I used to facilitate the morning meditation in a guided meditation, I could just feel the energy of everybody. And so what I have done since then is I often meditate outside. And I don't have a group of people with me, but I have my family of trees around me. And they're like my community when I'm meditating in this outdoor setting. And so this week, what I'd recommend as homework, I like homework. What I'd recommend is just take 15 minutes, go outside someplace in a beautiful location where it's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's pretty. I mean, these trees that we have here, they have a life energy. And when you're quiet, you can feel that life energy. You can feel the plants. You can feel the sky. You can feel it all, and it feels really divine. So let's go into our morning prayer. And right now, I feel the sun. It feels warm and friendly. And I hear the traffic, and it's just fine. It's okay. I feel the air around me, and it's a divinely inspired air that gives me breath and existence. And sometimes I just need to be quiet and feel the energy and feel the divinity of this moment. And so I look forward to the time when we can once again have a community morning meditation, when we can feel one another's energy and help to lift it up, help us all to feel more welcomed, more loved, to see more beauty, to feel more contented. So that's what I have for you this morning. For this morning prayer is contentment. Just feel this moment is whole, perfect, and complete. And just feel it. And know with me also that within every place, it is a holy place, like the song this morning. Sometimes I'm with my fellow humans. Sometimes I'm with my trees and flowers and sky. But in each case, it is a holy place. So I give thanks for this center, for it has so often lifted me up when I have needed it. It so often reminded me of the divine nature of life when I have forgotten it. Ken's message has so often helped me to see the bright, the beautiful, helped me to know the divine. And so that's what we have for you this morning. The bright, the beautiful, and the divine right here, right now, in this moment. And I can release this prayer so that each and every one of us can take this divine moment home with them this Sunday morning. So I can release this prayer easily and simply by saying, and so it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Eddie, bless us with a song.
There once was a spirit that knew it was the light among the other spirits whose lights were just as bright. But the spirit longed to experience what it would be like to be the light, to be the light. The spirit went to God and asked, how can I really know When all there is light and love everywhere I go. There is brightness all around me, and every spirit shines. I want to go where I can show this little light of mine. Rise, little spirit, rise, little spirit. You'll go back to where you came from, and know that you'll do well, and your Father is well pleased. So as you call upon the night, I will always be with you. You are the light. Now, in order for this all to work, God caused it to forget who it was and why it came. But in its heart it left divine intuition that was sure to show the way back to the light through the darkest night, to make it home someday. Rise, little spirit, rise, little spirit. You'll go back to where you came from, and know that you'll do well, and your mother is well pleased. So as you call upon the night, I will always be with you. You are the light. Now the night came and the darkness fell, and it was all the soul could see. And it cried out loud, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Then suddenly, from within, all became bright, and finally it realized and shouted, I am the light, I am the light. Rise, little spirit, rise, little spirit. Go back to where you came from, and know that you've done well, and your Father is well pleased. So spread your wings and take flight. Rise, little spirit, 'cause you are the light. Rise, little spirit, rise, little spirit. Come back to where you came from, and know that you've done well, and your mother is well pleased. So as you spread your wings and fly, rise, little spirit, because you are the light. I said you are the light. You and you are the light. You and you and you and you are the light. I said you are the light. Thank you.
Eddie Watkins Jr., everybody. Thank you, Eddie. What a blessing. So it is Easter Sunday this morning, and my talk title is Resurrection. You know, it's kind of a little strange. Most Centers for Spiritual Living won't talk about Easter Sunday. They kind of just pass it over. But I think that's kind of unfortunate because, of course, we're in a culture that really has a lot of to do about it. You can't go into a store that's not full of Easter baskets, Easter eggs, and chocolate bunnies. Although none of that stuff has anything to do with the Easter story. There's never a mention in sacred texts where it says, and Jesus came out the tomb and said, set the bunnies free to go spread my message. It didn't happen. Now, it's an interesting historical story, but I won't get involved in it about how how the resurrection of Christ got involved with basically a Roman celebration of fertility. That's where the bunnies and the eggs came from, but we'll cover that another day. And since our culture makes such a big to-do of Easter, I think it's important for us to pull from it the wisdom that we can, pull from it the wisdom we can, incorporate it for ourselves, to make it our own and the best way we can. After all, our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, he didn't overlook the ministry of Jesus. The ministry of Jesus is one of the biggest chapters in our textbook. So I think there's great wisdom in the ministry of Jesus, and it's for us to see what we can use. Because, you know, on this journey of life, we're supposed to become smarter and wiser. That's the whole purpose, for us to learn something in this time on earth. So I think it's important for us to pull from it what we can. And the last week of his life on earth, Jesus, that really covers the whole canopy of the human experience, the whole spectrum, from the adoration of the crowds to the friends that won't stick with you in times of trouble, to the dark night of the soul. To me, the night of when he's in the Garden of Gethsemane, to me, this is when he is at his most human, and it's the most touching, where he's there alone. He's asked his friends to stay up with him. He knows what's coming up, and they're not even willing to stay up with him. He's alone. He's with his fears, and he prays. He prays that what is before him will be taken away. And it's the one time his prayers are not answered. Now, the wisdom I take from that is two things. He was alone and he was tired. Oftentimes when you are in that dark place and you're alone and you're tired, your fears can overwhelm you. That's what happened to him. I love in the recovery movement, they will tell people, don't let yourself get too hungry, don't get too tired, don't get too alone. They're one of the slogans, easy does it. Keep yourself supplied, and that way you can handle the challenges that come your way. Because when he went from that alone place, when the Romans got there and started confronting him, he was back in his strength. He was back to where he was. So we can learn from that. Now, personally, it took me a long time to gain an appreciation for the ministry of Christ. I was raised in the South. I was raised up to be what's known in the South as a slicked back hair Church of God minister. That's what my parents wanted me to be. Little did they know that they were well on their way to raising a full-blown heathen. That's what they were about to get. And for a long time, as a young adult, I went through what I would call an angry atheist stage. It took me a journey to find something that worked for me spiritually. I was like my teacher, Kennedy Schultz, said. I explored everything. I went from everything of east of weird to west of orthodox. I tried it all. But I never gave one iota a moment of thought of going back to that fundamentalist that I had come from. I came from a place that was they would jump up and holler, run up and down the aisles. They speak in tongues. They would do everything but handle snakes. And the snakes were grateful for it. The snakes sent them a donation. Here's some money. Thank you for leaving us alone. So I never went back to that. Now, strangely, what pulled me from that angry stage, because I was really angry, what pulled me from that anger stage and got me seeking once again was music. It was an album that a friend of mine loaned me, and it was Aretha Franklin's Amazing Grace. That's what got me started. And it was a particular song on that I became obsessed about. And it was Mary, Don't You Weep, Martha, Don't You Moan. And it has to do with the resurrection of Lazarus. And it's a fascinating song. It's one of those that leave you perplexed. You're not really quite sure what the whole meaning of the song is about, because it intermingles the resurrection of Lazarus with the drowning of Pharaoh's army. The Jewish people have an interesting insight on the drowning of Pharaoh's army. They say when Pharaoh's army drowned, that the angels of heaven went to celebrate, and God silenced them and said, no, even Pharaoh's army are my children, and I won't have their destruction celebrated. So there was something about this song that triggered something within my soul, and it wasn't something that I could explain. And like I said, I got kind of obsessed about it. I was a freshman in college, back home for summer at my mom's house. That was the last time I made that mistake. And I was just playing it over and over again. Finally, my mom had had enough of it, and she hollered out from me from the kitchen. She said, "If you don't shut Mary up, I'm coming back there to give Martha something to moan about." She wasn't very much of a spiritual person. Now, I went on to a journey, and it was many years. It didn't happen automatically. It took many years for me finally to find science of mind. And when I hit on science of mind, I was home. I was home, almost from the very first lecture, maybe one or two or three, but I was home. And here I had found something that made sense to me, that did not insult my intelligence. And so it really was a blessing to find it. And over the years, particularly now that when I got to St. Augustine, I started getting involved in the interfaith movement, and I just love the Christian ministers that are involved in that movement. I love the Catholic priest. I love the Methodist ministers. They're just wonderful, loving, kind, compassionate people. And so for the past few years, I've been really made an effort to say, is there something in Christianity? Is there something in the ministry of Jesus that I can pull from? And what I have found is, yes, there's a great deal. Jesus was a revolutionary thinker, even way more so than we're taught. He was revolutionary. And the first thing he was revolutionary in was how to talk about and his relationship with God. It's interesting, the Catholic theologian, Richard Rohr, he said, we worship Jesus rather than following the path that he was on. Kennedy said, Jesus pointed the way, and for 2,000 years, we've been worshiping his fingernail. Even Jesus said, what I have done, you will do, and even more. So we need to get about that journey. After all, we have to understand Jesus never wanted to create a new religion. He wanted to reform the religion, but he saw himself as a Jewish man from the beginning to the end. And as I said, his revolution was in how he thought about his relationship with God. Intimate, personal. He talked about God as Father, but I understand more accurately, Papa. And it was a close relationship. Now, unfortunately, we focus on his ministry with the cross, but that really doesn't represent his spirit. It's a good marketing tool, the cross. It's very easy to put on church steeples, but the empty tomb is what really represents his victory. That's where his victory came. That empty tomb, where he came up out of the cold, dead earth to announce himself as our Christ. Now, I think it's fair to ask, do I really believe that he resurrected from the dead? And I don't know. I do believe, I think the historical evidence, when you read the scripture, is that something very powerful did happen. And the evidence of that is, in my mind, is that his disciples, who were a band of zeros, they really were, they went all of a sudden to a band of heroes. They were so fearful they couldn't even stay up with him, that they were, after his death, they were willing to go risk their lives. So something happened to change them. And I think the something happened actually was before the resurrection. I think how he was dealing with the Romans, how he was interacting with what was before him, was what really empowered him. Edgar Casey, he's often called the American prophet. He said that Jesus sang on his way to the crucifixion, that he sang, and it terrified the Romans. They had never had that happen before. They didn't know what to make of this person. And once he was on the cross, he began to do some very powerful, to say some very powerful things. One of the things that he said is, my God, why have you forsaken me? Now, for the Jews that were there, they immediately knew what he was saying, because that's a huge reference to Psalm 22. And in Psalm 22, those very words are used. And strangely enough, Psalm 22 describes exactly much of the punishment Jesus is going through. The writer of Psalm 22 says, why have you forsaken me? My hands are pierced. My enemies are before me. They're like ravenous dogs at me. My body is broken. My heart melts like wax. And where are you? You're nowhere I can see. But in that psalm, it goes on and says, even if you have forsaken me, I will hold to you. I'm not going to turn back. I'm going to hold strong to my faith. I'm not moving back. You know, it reminds me of a story in the Holocaust in Nazi Germany. There's a story of one of the death camps that these brilliant Jewish lawyers and rabbis and teachers had gotten together. They were going to put God on trial. They were going to try God to see if God was worthy, if God had supported them as they had supported him. These learned Jewish scholars got together and they convicted God. They said, no, you have not supported us. You have not been faithful to us. And the story goes, after the conviction, they said, all right, now, it's time for us to do our prayers. It's time to come together to do our prayers. That even in a place where we might not see a way out, that we should hold to our faith. It's interesting, people will sometimes tell me, they say, you know, with all that's going on, how can you believe? And I have to be honest, that I believe, I choose to believe. And I choose to believe because that's what gives me strength to go on. That's what gives me courage to go on. That there is a better day coming. That there's a powerful goodness flowing through us. And we can avail ourselves to that power. We're not weak and wounded. We have come here to announce our goodness, our joy, our love, our prosperity and health. And God will help us along on this journey. Now, Jesus was on the cross, and the thief next to him cried out in pain. And he looked to him and he said, this day, you will be with me in paradise. Even in a place of woundedness, even in a place where he felt forsaken and racked with pain, he still brought comfort to those around him. And then he said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they do. Forgive them. Kennedy said, he had to ask God to do his forgiveness for him because he was so angry. He was so hurt. He couldn't forgive them himself. But he knew he would not ascend as long as he had this hurt on his soul. So he had to ask God to do forgiveness to him, for him. Now, I have often known people around me who do terrible things, and they often justify it. They don't know the pain they inflict. I look out at our poor nation, and I see it racked with pain and suffering. This past week, you couldn't bear to hear the testimony coming from the trial of George Floyd and not be weary of soul. I one time asked Reverend Elizabeth, I said, why is it that we attract such horrible things? And she told me, she said, well, sometimes it's because we are putting something out to attract that pain and that hurt. But sometimes it's not what we're putting out. Sometimes it's because we're strong enough to overcome. Sometimes it's because we're strong enough to heal and bless. Sometimes it's because we know we've got the power of Spirit flowing through us and we can overcome the challenges that are before our way. And that's what I like to think this morning, is that we're strong enough as a nation, and strong enough as a people. We're going to do the right thing. You see, God has inspired us. God has given us these dreams and hopes. And sometimes the world would want to tell us that we dream too big. I don't think that's the problem. We're worthy of our dreams. That's what they did with Jesus. They told him he was not worthy of his hopes and dreams and aspirations. You see, there had been people who had money interest in the temple, and they didn't want him coming there, upsetting their little apple cart, overturning the money changers' tables. They weren't money changers at all. They were people who were selling things that were needed to do worship at the temple. And they were taking money from people that just wanted to have a connection with spirit. And that's what angered Jesus so much, is they were making profits, keeping people separated from what was rightly theirs. They're knowing that God was with them and for them and supporting them. So they seized Jesus. They beat him. They split his sides open. They crowned him with thorns, and then they nailed him to a cross. They thought they were done with him. They thought they had shut him up. They thought his suffering would show the world what kind of person he really was. But in the midst of his agony, he was still able to give comfort. He was still able to be concerned. He was still able to provide some hope and blessings to those around him, even though he was racked by pain. When he was dead, they put him in a tomb. They rolled a stone over the door, and they thought they were finished with him. They thought that was that. The power of love in his heart and soul was not going to remain in the cold, dead earth forever. It had to breathe the air of God's possibilities. The world thought they were done with him, but the power of God's love resurrected him back to the Christ that he was meant to be, so he could change the world. This morning, you may have allowed the world to put your hopes and dreams in a tomb of dead earth. You may have allowed the world to roll a stone of despair over your dreams and prayers. But God is not done with you yet. Amen. God called you by name to be the very best you could be, to be what it has inspired you to be what it has prayed for you to be. So roll back any stone the world has put in your way. Let your prayers and dreams breathe the life of God's possibility today. Today is the day of your resurrection. Today is the day that you can proclaim for yourself that you are alive with the Spirit and glory of God. So step out into the world and let old Pharaoh know that a child of God is on the move and you're not turning back. It's the truth. It's the truth in your life this morning. Amen. It's the truth in mine, and so it is.
Amen. Amen.
Woo! Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Come on up, Eddie, and play us something. Woo.
Every morning, the light keeps getting brighter as I wake up to the truth. And every day, I'm feeling so much lighter, and the world seems fresh and new. What I was taught and the way that I thought stopped serving me long ago. Now I'm learning to trust in the God of all of us. Each day I start anew, and so I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to such sadness. Today is the day I walk away. Every day I walk away. Every morning brings a new beginning. By grace another day to be. And I awaken to the sun upon me shining, lighting the way for me to see. All things that I sought and the way that I thought stopped serving me long ago. Now I'm learning to trust in the God of all of us. Of yesterday I'm letting go. I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. Oh, I'm walking away from the less than that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to such sadness. Today is the day. Today is the day. Today is the day I walk away.
Thank you, Eddie. All right. So let's drink in all this wonderful sunshine. Let's drink in Eddie's great music. And let's go into affirmative prayer. Let's put it into the very marrow of our bones and our cells of our being so it can radiate and attract back to us everything we're hoping and seeking in life. I'm going to do this prayer in the first person. Take it in for yourself. If I say something that works for you, hold tight to that. If I say something that doesn't work for you, well, just let that part slide by. But just know this truth with me this morning. There is but one God and one mind and one power. And that power is perfect love. It's divine intelligence. That power prayed me into being. It called me by name from stardust so I could be here at this moment, at this time, walking this soil of earth. And that power is flowing through me. It is pulling and attracting to me every great good I am seeking. All the love and all the joy, the health and the prosperity. So this morning, I'm walking away from every shadow of woundedness, from every thought of lack and limitation. I've played with those small ideas long enough. They're like shadows upon the morning. They flee this right knowing like they fled the morning sun. This morning, I'm lifting my eyes up to a better knowing for myself. This morning, I'm choosing to see God. I'm choosing to see myself as God sees me. This morning, I'm walking with Spirit. I'm walking in the garden for an understanding of how God is flowing through me in power and courage and compassion and kindness. I leave this place strong with the power of God. I leave here knowing there's nothing for me to fear. There's no power on this earth that can hold me and God back. We have come to this place to experience all the love, the joy, the happiness, and health and prosperity God had in mind when it called us forth. This is my truth. I celebrate this right knowing, and I release this prayer into the mind of God to do its good and perfect, bold and dynamic work, returning to me multiplied abundantly. And together we say, and so it is. All right, my friends, I want to leave you with one final thought. Your life is not a problem to be solved. It's a miracle unfolding. Your job today is to go name your miracle, proclaim your miracle, and make it your own. God bless us all. Now let us go be the miracle God has called us to be. Until we see each other again, Reverend Ken, many blessings.
I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Oh my gosh, I feel like you were preaching to me.
Oh.
Thank you so much. You're amazing.
Oh,
you are amazing.
No, together we are. He breathes that out every day. It's really.
He's a dying life. I would tell you about that. But we relate to it. Great job.
Yes, sir.
All right.